All right. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Movie Bros Show. I'm your host, Remy Keene, along with my pal Josh, aka the Sexy Mexi.
Hey guys, how's it going? Much peace, love, happiness to everybody. Oh, it's been a long week, Remy. How have you been? How have you feeling?
It's a it's a tired week for everyone, I feel, and so many things, are happening in movies and things because you know, just so many getting ready to come out, and I'm like prepping for them and just excited. But at the same time, I'm like, how am I going to fit all these in my schedule? Because like I'm busy enough. And
Mm,
yeah, and um, with work and everything this week, I had to start a training class and then do a whole bunch of stuff I've never done before. So my brain was like going real fast, and uh, yeah, just quite a beautiful day. And with Easter still coming up right now, I don't know if it will still be when this episode airs, but it is still coming as of right now. In the past time from when you're listening to this, but uh man, with all the Easter stuff, I'm like working on promo for that, and everything with the Easter egg hunts that we're gonna have at our church and everything. So, yeah, it's been a busy week. But I think what we should talk about this week is fan theories around movies, and we can like do a little research and pick some of our favorites and share those. And I just think that would be fun because sometimes these things are like out there, man, and it's like I never thought of that, and glad I didn't. And then sometimes it's like, oh, I could kind of see that, and or that kind of ruins the movie for me, so I don't want to think about that, or things like that. So I figured it'd be fun to uh, just explore, because fans are what make movies great, right? And fans are also the biggest haters of certain movies.
mm,
So let's talk about that. I think that's a good thing to talk about.
okay. So we're talking any random show, any random movie. What do you think?
Yeah, I think any random movie, TV show,
Okay,
anything that you're like, whoa, this is interesting.
okay. So I
Um,
got one for you
awesome.
already. So, Murder She Wrote, which was a popular series, and for all you Gen Z, Angela Lansbury in the 80s, maybe even the 70s,
Yeah,
into the 90s was a very popular show called Murder She Wrote. And it was kind of an old lady that reluctantly just kind of came into these murder mysteries and she would help solve it. So the fan theory is that her name is Jessica Fletcher. And the fan theory is Jessica Fletcher actually is a serial killer that kills everybody in each show and frames others for it.
oh wow.
And and their argument is that how can a lady just happen to be involved in a murder case everywhere she goes?
Right, right. That's
So
that's that's
yes,
interesting.
that is interesting. I kind of thought that was kind of neat. Never looked at it that way. So
Right? It's like, so everywhere you travel,
exactly, they have a
there's a
murder
murder.
happen.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, what's the one common denominator? It's you. Um,
Exactly.
no, I could see that for sure. And then she has the cover story of being a writer that
Right.
writes about them. So of course she's in the area. She figured there would be one, or she was just there because of that. And that's interesting. I like that.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
What
Um.
what do you think her motives were, or do you think they were just like she's just crazy I mean, serial killer.
It didn't really kind of go that route, but
Yeah.
if I were to see, I think kind of a genius type showing off, kind of
Oh, yeah.
reluctant, right?
Like
Just
a
being like,
flex.
right, right. So that's what I think. I think that's she was kind of playing dumb, and nobody looks her way, and
Yeah.
so she could get away with murder essentially.
Okay, well, I have one for you.
Okay.
So Jason Bourne isn't actually an assassin. Um, the theory kind of explains how the character is actually a schizophrenic, and this is like the spiritual successor of A Beautiful Mind, you know? Um, like, what if Bourne is just like a fisherman with a small inheritance, which makes sense, that he's rescued on a fishing boat at the beginning, and then everything just takes place in his brain after that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
right? Like,
Okay.
I don't know if
Hmm.
that explains some of the like talents he has, and things that just kind of unlock in his brain. But well, I mean, what if he's not really doing that? What if he's just imagining himself to be doing that? You know, uh, I don't know. It kind of has some holes in it, but I
Yeah.
find it interesting.
Yeah. Okay. I got one for you. I like this one.
Okay.
Blair Witch Project. Kind of one of the first I call shaky film movies.
Mhm.
iPhone shaky film movies. Um, this one says they believe the two men accompanying the woman planned and successfully executed to murder her deep in the woods. So essentially, there was no Blair Witch, but they took
Uh,
her out there and murdered her.
Like an elaborate scheme.
Right, an elaborate scheme.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that one's interesting because blame it on something paranormal when you just are the one that's tricking them into believing it, and then you use it as an excuse. It's like, I don't know,
yeah,
the Blair Witch got her. That's what
exactly,
happened.
exactly.
Here's one that I found to be really interesting. Um, the Shrek movie, Donkey from Shrek.
Okay,
Uh, did you ever watch Pinocchio?
I did.
Of course you
I
did,
finally
right?
did. Yep, yep.
And the boy was turned into a donkey.
Uh-huh.
So they think that donkey is the donkey from Pinocchio. They think that,
Ah,
yeah. So,
gotcha.
yeah, just with him being able to talk, communicate, all that. I mean, not that most fairy tales are not, but almost everyone in that, in Shrek is from some sort of like a mythical tale. So,
Right.
which one's Donkey from? And then that could be. Another one about Shrek. Um, so the word Shrek is actually a different language for ogre or beast or monster, something like that. And what if Shrek never had a name and he just called himself something fake? Whenever they came into his swamp, he's like, "Hey, get out of my swamp!" And he's like, "What's your name?" And he's like, Shrek," because like he pauses like that before he delivers his name. And so that's one of the theories around Shrek. A couple of the theories, and I think
Mm.
it's kind of cool because um, what if these characters are actually not the characters we knew originally, but different ones than we thought? Would that change our outlook on these movies? Nah, not really. I still
No.
love Shrek. I mean, Shrek is
Yeah. Yeah, all right, we got one here. Harry Potter. This one says Harry Potter is actually a mental patient in a mental institution, and that he's an orphan, and all the other kids there are mental patients, like in a mental hospital.
Mm.
And the Dementors are like the orderlies that kind of hold them down, subject them to treatments, and the teachers are actually psychologists trying to teach them things, and so that's how they're kind of going about it. Um, so yeah, I can kind of see it a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
You kind of going to a train station and walking through a wall and entering the place that nobody else can get into, and um,
and
just
it's
a
all
fan.
because of the way his evil adoptive, aunt and uncle treated him, locked him in a cupboard under the stairs. So you have to create a world in your head to
Yeah.
survive. And it's like a survival mechanism instead of like a true escape. He's actually only, but I'm sorry, I have to debunk that because, I mean, we all know Hogwarts is real.
Yeah.
So just because I didn't get
Exactly.
my letter doesn't mean I don't believe.
Exactly.
Yeah. I just, you have to, you have to believe. You have to know that it's a thing. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. I love Harry Potter so much that I wouldn't want it to be like that. Um, Speaking of movies that turn out like that, have you ever seen Shutter Island?
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio. That's a
Yep.
fantastic movie.
Yep.
Like, even though I just kind of spoiled it for everybody right there, go watch it. Like, it's still really, really good. Um,
Right.
so good, man. Like, wow. But I highly suggest it. It's definitely one that I would, and it's so sad. It's so good all the way through it. But oh, here's a good one. Have you seen the movie The Rock with Sean Connery?
Yeah. It's been a long time. Yeah.
So it's like one of the best Michael Bay movies, right? But the there's a fan theory that makes it almost better than what it is. It says, "What if The Rock is a James Bond movie?" Because James Bond, in fact, could have been a pseudonym, or if you retired and your name was James Bond, of course you're going to change it, right? So what if uh, he was, his character in The Rock explains he was trained by British intelligence. Um, and at the end of Diamonds Are Forever, Bond is sent to is on the SS Canberra, which is docked in San Francisco, 1971, just 1 year before John Mason, who he plays in The Rock, was captured and imprisoned in The Rock. So, like, it, I mean, the story kind of matches up. Like, what if James Bond was held captive this whole time, and now The Rock is the story of his follow up? And I'm like, that's kind of cool.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
interesting for sure.
Okay. I got one. Did you ever see Ferris Bueller's Days Off? Ferris Bueller Days
Yeah.
Off. It was in
Yeah.
1980. Yep. You know, he skips school, pretends to be sick, and then he has his grand day. Well, his best friend was Cameron, and Cameron was the character that was abused by his dad. And in this fan theory, they actually say that there is no Ferris Bueller, that Cameron had a psychotic break, and Ferris Bueller is his split personality, helping him cope with his abusive dad. And so everything that Ferris Bueller does is actually him projecting, trying to heal from a parent who's abusive.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty mind blowing, actually.
Yeah, like what if he's just like a figment, right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
he's the creation of like he's like again, spoiler alert, Fight Club. He's
Right,
Tyler
exactly,
Durden. He's like who I want to be. Like
exactly,
that's the guy I want to be. But I
exactly.
can't be him, so I'm gonna pretend I am best friends with him and hang out
Yeah,
with him.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's kind of neat.
it is. That's
That's
interesting.
kind of neat.
Okay, so there's this one that's really interesting. So Terminators are actually peaceful. This is a theory because basically it says like the Terminators are actually unwilling slaves that are robots created to be sentient beings. And the T-800's chip um, basically causes them to uh, follow this kill order. But when the chip is reset, like in Terminator 2 Judgment Day, it becomes a human like creature that is sent to save instead of destroy. Plus, in Terminator Dark Fate, the Terminator chooses a more peaceful life when its link to Skynet is switched off. So ultimately, without Skynet, all the Terminators would be good.
Mm,
And that's kind of an interesting one. Definitely something to think about because um, honestly, if we ever did an episode about when sequels are as good as or almost better than the first, I feel like Terminator is among them. I love Terminator 1, but
hmm.
Terminator 2 is like
Yeah,
legit, man.
yeah,
Judgment
yeah,
Day is the biggest.
yeah.
Um, that pinball machine was in my local Pizza Hut or Gambino's forever when I was a
Mm,
kid, and I loved seeing it. I mean, it it made Arnold Schwarzenegger's career. I feel like that's
yeah,
why
for sure.
I knew who he was. So
Okay, I got a couple for you.
yeah,
They're in regards to Doctor Who. So the
okay,
first one is that this fan believes that Mary Poppins is the Time Lord.
yeah. I have seen this theory and I love it. Like, her bag is bigger on the
Yes,
inside, just like a
right,
TARDIS.
right.
Um, uh,
She
that's
flies
funny.
away.
Yep,
Yeah, always in the right spots, knows how to fix and manipulate people,
yep.
right? That kind of thing. All right, I got another
That's
one then for
that's
you.
fun. I love that idea just because, like, what if, you know,
Right, exactly.
things are connected like that. That's cool.
All right, here we go. Willy Wonka is the final regeneration of the Doctor Who.
Oh, okay.
Because again, the same theory. Willy Wonka's alone. He has all these weird inventions. He actually in the end, you see him take off in the telephone booth looking deal that shoots up in the air.
Yeah,
Um,
the elevator, it looks
yeah,
like it could be a absolutely upways, downways, sideways, frontways,
yeah,
backways, anyways,
exactly, exactly.
always.
So they think that Willy Wonka is the last. He's a reincarnation of Doctor Who.
Mm, I like that. That's interesting for sure.
Hmm.
That's better than some of the other Willy Wonka theories I've seen of him, like, being a killer or something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. I saw that one where
yeah,
he planned all the murders, and
right.
all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Only he doesn't murder them, they walk out of his place, like, you see
right, right.
like, it's not even left up to question, you actually see them walk out. Um, Different and having learned a lesson, hopefully, but they walk out of there.
Mm,
So here's one, and honestly, I've always thought this. I didn't think it was a fan theory. I just thought, yeah, of course. The merchant in Aladdin is the genie, the one telling you the story in the beginning.
Ah, gotcha.
For years, fans that have theorized that in the beginning of this movie, in fact, is the genie in disguise, considering the merchant speaks similar to the genie and has the same sense of humor. It would make sense that the two are in the same, though, unlike most theories, this one was actually claimed to be true by the director. Okay, because one, I mean, he's voiced by the voice of the genie. I mean, duh, right? I mean,
Okay.
Uh, of course. But I mean, like when you see him, I'm gonna download this picture right now so I can put it in the episode. Of course, like the second I see him, I hear Robin Williams' voice, like
Hmm.
the genie's voice. So of course. I don't know. I don't know about you. Do you remember the
It's
merchant
a,
at the very beginning?
yes, and only because I saw it just a few minutes ago. But yeah, I saw that reference on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think I knew that at one point.
Okay.
But it's again, it's been so long since I watched Aladdin. And to be fair, it was one of my favorite cartoon shows. I mean, like the way he runs on the rooftops. Actually, it was one of my favorite video games, even at that. Um, but yeah, I could see that. I
Yeah.
could see that certainly.
Um, there's another one here, which I've heard it before, um, but I've always wondered, um, what if Dorothy is the Wicked Witch of the East? Like,
Yeah.
in the world, I mean, all the people, the lion, the scarecrow, uh, everyone is played out of the world in Kansas and in Oz. They play their counterparts in Oz, and it's like a fever dream of Dorothy's the whole time. Um, but she learns a lesson from it, right? But what if um, the witch under the house isn't actually there? What if people? Um, what if like she was a plant for the shoes to show up as a device to get home, and it was just like the Munchkins played along with her, and the ruby red slippers were just a figment of her imagination the whole time too.
Mm,
Things like that. Like I've seen a whole bunch of them around this, but like, what if she was the Wicked Witch of the East, and like they were all just playing along with her, and like they're all just members of like a mental institution or something like that too. I'm like, it's interesting, but I think Wizard of Oz is perfectly fine the way it is, so just leave it alone, you know. But of course, I mean, Wicked was awesome. Like I love like Wicked, that story. I don't mean like leave it alone like that, but I just mean like let's not corrupt the good thing that the Wizard of Oz is. And growing up as a Kansas boy, literally everyone references this when they find out you're from Kansas and they're not.
I know.
And
All
it's
my
like,
family in Texas is like, you know where Toto's at?
yeah.
Did you
Well,
hang out with? Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he blessed the rains down in Africa, so that's what he's doing.
exactly.
I just make another reference that throws them off, and I'm like, haha, you like references? I make those all the time, all the days, all of the days.
Hmm. I just saw one that's kind of out there here. Um, so Kevin McAllister of Home Alone
Hmm.
grows up to be Jigsaw.
I saw that the other day, and I was like, this one kind of makes me want to talk about this on the podcast because I'm like, no way. But then, like, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, okay, I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, literally, he makes traps
Right.
and
Exactly.
tortures people that do bad things. So what if he becomes ultimately, like, dedicated to this craft and
Yeah.
hunts people that do bad things and grows up to become Jigsaw? And I'm like, that's interesting. Do I think it's the
Yeah.
case? Nah, but it's interesting. Oh, there's another theory. Jack Dawson from Titanic. Uh, he apparently they believe that he is a time traveler who came back to purposefully ride the Titanic.
Yeah.
And yeah, uh, he had an out of place hairstyle. The rucksack he's been carrying around wasn't actually popular until the 30s. So just those like placements of things are are just signs that maybe he wasn't from that time ever to begin with. Maybe he wanted to ride the Titanic, see if he could survive.
Mm, mm,
Spoilers, he doesn't.
mm.
Oh, sad. I don't like that one. Oh, here's one. Sandy from Greece. She dies in the beginning of the movie,
Right.
and it's all about her senior year because she never got to experience it. Um, yeah, sad.
Mm.
I got chills. They're multiplying.
Multiply.
Oh, you mentioned Harry Potter earlier. Um, one of the other things that I've read, you know how Horcruxes make people evil, and like especially when Dolores Umbridge was wearing the Horcrux, she became even awfuler than before. I
Mm.
know awfuler is not really a word, but even more awful
Yeah.
than before. The reason some speculate that the Dursleys were so awful to him is because Harry is a Horcrux, because he has a piece of Voldemort inside him. So the same thing that drives him mad when he wears the
Mm.
locket, and Ron mad and Hermione mad, like the same thing that makes them and bothers them is the same thing that is doing that to the Dursleys, and that's why they are evil um, to him and treat him so awfully. But yeah, uh, I don't know if you read the books, they actually tell you different reasons that they're so awful. Like Petunia is jealous of her sister Lily for going to magic school because she thinks they're weird, and everything like that. And they basically swore to protect Harry and keep him away from all magic because they knew he was like Petunia knew that he was going to die. She knew how bad Harry or how bad Voldemort was because she, I mean, he killed her sister. And she actually does kind of care for Harry in a way, but it's just her own way. It's like they want to be super controlling of Harry because they don't want him to follow it down the magic road because they think that's going to save him. So that's the actual like thing I got for when I read the books and watched the movies together. But yeah, you can think whatever you want about them because they're mean for some reason, and you know, whatever it is, yeah. So basically, also the last thing, I'm just a huge Harry Potter fan and nerd. But the thing that protects Harry and the reason he has to stay at the Dursleys and not somewhere else is because there's an old magic that's older than Voldemort, and Dumbledore and everyone alive, right? And it's basically called like blood magic, and the blood magic, because Lily, his mom, protected him with love, that put a protection over him that as long as you're in the home of someone with the same blood as Lily, you will not be harmed. You can't be
Hmm.
found. You can't be located. Nothing can that wants to harm you can find you, because it's meant to be the ultimate protection, which is love. Which the underlying storyline and theme is like love conquers all, right? And it's the love of the mother that ultimately saved Harry, that protects him when he goes back to the Dursleys' house, which is why he has to when he's out of Hogwarts.
Hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah. And when you turn 17, in the wizarding world, you become of age. So that's why he never goes back to the Dursleys after he's 17, because he's no longer under the protection of the Dursley household. So,
Hmm.
well, in case you didn't know that, now you do. And I went on that little tangent.
Yeah, didn't know any of that, man. I actually never read the books, so I'm behind
That's
there.
okay. I read the books because, like I said, I love the movies. I've seen the movies like 9 times plus, and I was like, I gotta I'm really into to like Audible and like renting audiobooks right now, for my drives to and from work, and I've just gotten through so many books that way, and I
Hmm.
listen to all the Harry Potter books, and Jim
Hmm.
Dale reads them so well. So yeah, if you're Audible, if you want to sponsor this episode, not a sponsor, but eventually, if you want to sponsor us, we talk about movies, but we'll sure talk about some audiobooks that you can listen to. The one
Yeah,
I'm
for
listening
sure.
to right now is called, it's by R.L. Stein. It's called Camp Red Moon. It's like a teen horror series, like kind of like Goosebumps.
Hmm.
And it's a bunch of like episodic things about Red Moon, and they're just like one-off, kind of like chapterized horror stories that are just built around like one theme. Like one's were creatures, like they're all werewolves. One is the robots are taking over the world, and the kids have to stop it. One's like a shapeshifter comes to camp and tries to take over a kid's life.
Hmm.
It's pretty cool. I would highly suggest to read it. And yeah,
So, I got one that's kind of pretty good. I like this one. Do you remember the movie The Descent, where the group of girls get lost in the cave and they find these
yeah.
monsters that mutated, kind of adapted? Well, in this fan theory, they believe that none of the monsters are actually real,
Okay.
or but she's actually hallucinating the people that she's killing are her companions, and with their psychological break they look like monsters. So so when every time she sees the monster, she's actually seeing a human being, and
Oh
she's
wow,
basically killing her
friends.
friends. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a good one for sure.
Let's see.
I have one about The Shining. And this one might be one of the most crazy theories, but The Shining is secret confession about the government's stage of Apollo 11 and the moon landing. The film changes the haunted room's number from 237 to 217 in the novel. Um, Originally, it's 217 in the novel, because the average distance from the Earth to the moon is 237,000 miles. It's known to be 2003 uh 2000 I'm sorry, 238,900, um and also changes the book's single slain child into those creepy twins as a nod to NASA's Gemini program. An event more overt detail from the same scene. Danny's sweater features a rocket labeled Apollo 11. So, uh, was it a secret confession that, hey, I helped direct the Apollo 11 moon landing from this same studio? Or just, you know, one of those crazy theories about the government covering things up and everything like that. So, nothing new
Yeah,
there, guys. Nothing new there.
yeah, exactly. I did see one about Jurassic Park where there are no actual dinosaurs. They're just genetically um, enhanced
Lizards. Yeah.
lizards. Yeah, that they kind of did.
Yeah, I saw that one
Um,
too, and I thought it was interesting, the fact that they think people would go through that much effort, but why not? I mean, nobody knows what they actually looked at like nowadays, so if you could create them and to look even somewhere close, but I mean, those are the things I learned about growing up. They look pretty similar. I don't know. Now I learn about different ones, and I'm like, okay, y'all change some
mm,
stuff. I have one where Doc Brown was actually ready to die if he didn't succeed in time travel. Because if you watch when uh, he's sending the DeLorean back in time with the remote control, it's about to hit him before it disappears. So if it didn't reach 88 and travel through time, uh, he was gonna die, and just be hit by the car and take Marty out with him. And I watched the scene again, and I was like, "Oh, yeah." Um, but maybe he just had that much confidence that it was gonna work. But
mm,
he's a guy where every single one of his inventions has never worked before. So the fact that this one does is crazy, right? But maybe he expected it to not work, and he was just going to kill himself when he stole that plutonium from those guys. But
mm.
yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's dark, dark theory, but interesting for sure. So this is a fun episode because it's like it takes the imagination that we've already had and increases it, causes us to think and rationalize. It's like, would that work or would that not? And it kind of makes me want to go back and watch some of these movies, but then on the other hand, it's like I have enough movies to watch already. I like want to watch new movies. I don't want to continue watching
All right, I
old
got I
movies.
got one last one. I actually like this one.
Okay.
Okay, so this is this according to this fan, they believe that Michael Myers is a cyborg assassin,
A
and
cyborg
that
assassin.
yeah, and that's why he can't kill him.
Okay.
Like he's actually meant for the government to go murder certain type of people because they didn't comply with whoever. But he's a cyborg in the sense that you can't kill him, shoot him, burn him, stab him, blah blah blah, and he just keeps coming back. So he's mechanically made into an assassin. So,
Huh.
mm, yeah,
That's interesting a lot. I like it.
yeah,
Uh, I mean, it
yeah,
makes sense that
right,
he's not. And like, what if he was replaced as a boy,
right.
and then like created to age up to a certain level, but then never attached to people, and then they just release the kill order at one point in his life, and he knows to like experiment with things to make it look like he's a human going crazy, but ultimately he's doing something he was programmed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig that. I think that's interesting for sure.
Mm.
Huh. Well, I think
Yeah.
that this episode has been a great one. I know it's a little shorter than normal, but I think we've covered some pretty good theories that maybe you could take back and form some of your own theories, share with us. If you have a theory that you think um, about a movie and you want to share it with us, I think that would be cool if you shared it um, with us, and we'll maybe even read it on the next uh, couple episodes whenever we receive it here. Of course, we record these in advance a couple weeks, so um, may not be on the very next episode, but definitely on one soon. So yeah, if you submitted something, you're like, hey, I really think this is one. This is a and we can take a section of an episode in the future to talk about it. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great idea. Yeah. Certainly reach out. We like to just hear, and any feedback is welcome. Any constructive criticism is welcome. And like I said, we just like to hear from somebody, and reach out and connect. And so let us know. Always subscribe, like, listen to us on podcast or on Spotify, right?
Yep. We're on Spotify
Spotify,
on video, on YouTube on video, and then everywhere else you can get podcasts and audio.
correct. So, and like I said, we appreciate you. Um, and so I think that's our show for today. Then,
Yeah. Hey guys, thank you so much. Again, like Josh said, uh, share the episode with a friend if you enjoyed it. Make sure you're subscribed so you can be here for the next time a new episode comes out. On YouTube, we like to release like mini portions of episodes, so like just sections. If you enjoy something like that, check out our YouTube for sure. But no matter where you're listening or watching from, we want to thank you just for being a part of the show. And we have fun. We hope you have fun with us. So until next time, you take care. Peace.
peace.